I'm Erna. I'm 26. I was born in the Congo but grew up in Belgium. I work for Think Young. I'm doing an internship here.
Regardez, monsieur le l'instant, nous arrivons à Bruxelles, ce sera fort vers Bruxelles midi, Bruxelles centrale et Bruxelles nord. Le train continue.
I always felt I have two different culture. I grew up with two different culture. What I found at school and what the way I used to. Mainly for me is the way we grow up, the politeness, the way we act with people, the way you talk to people, the way you, like, the things you say to people is different. When we speak to people who are older than you, then you don't stare at them in the eyes like straight away. And like it's kind of a sign of respect for us. And then when I got to England, like when I was speaking to other people, I was not watching them in the eyes directly. But then this kind of, like, people kind of told me, when I speak to you, you need to look at me to see that you're understanding what I'm telling you and all this. She's cooking pondu. It's one of the main dishes in Congo. It's vegetable. She's gonna take this out and put it into water with different kind of veg. You can eat it with rice or you can eat it with this. Those are plantains. It's kind of banana and you have to fry them. One of my favorite things. If I speak to someone on the street or maybe someone I work with, I can say things that in my own home I can't say. I mean, they won't find it. It's not polite. I mean, it's not good for me to reply in that way. Even a small thing, smoking. I've been smoking for 10 years, but my dad never saw me smoke. I mean, I grew up here. I don't really care that he knows or not, but in their culture, it's not good. Like, it's not a good image that you give. So it's something that I can't do in front of my dad just by respect. It's not because I'm scared of him or he would say something back to me. No, it's my own choice, the way I grew up.
No, come on, take one.
My dad was working for Mobutu, which was the old president. So yeah, he was working for him for about 10-15 years. Then when they changed the president, then he had to leave his place. So they decided to come to Belgium to start a new life. Basically, he had to leave the Congo. Like, people from the new administration were actually looking for people who used to work before. So he had to leave the Congo, or he was in danger. It was actually like, my mom was with my dad. My dad had a girlfriend, basically. So when he came with his girlfriend when they went to Holland. And then we stayed here with my mom. And we lived with my mom for a long period of time. Then my mom died. She had high blood pressure. Yeah, so she was ill, then she died. Obviously the way of living was different, because over there my dad had a good job, so it was easier with all of us, like all 6 kids. But then when she moved here, she had to go through all this process, all these asylum things, and my dad wasn't there as well because he was with someone else. So yeah, I mean, it was stressful for her. I mean, I was little, but I can still remember how we were moving from house to house. And
En nou 2 uur. Okay. So.
My dad moved from Holland. He came back to Brussels. 4 of my brothers were already old, so they had their own house and could look after themselves. But then we were 3 of us, me, my older sister and my little brother, who were still under 18. So we had to live with my dad for about 2 years. Then he wasn't working out with his wife. So I moved in England with my brother, my older brother. Well, my sister who lives here, she got married, so she went to live with her in-laws.
Vlees kopen voor eten.
Oké.
Le nouveau arrivant. Laisse-nous tout.
Hervé!
Du côté des Français, pourquoi pas, c'est vrai. Par exemple, ce matin, c'est vrai que du côté du Canada, il y a assez de bonnes nouvelles, puisqu'on 3 bateaux français qui sont qualifiés pour les finales de demain. En canoë, Mathieu Boubel s'est qualifié.
M comme
Finalement, il a avoué qu'il s'était gagné.
c'est ça.
Donc, on lui a demandé de restituer sa médaille. Il a restitué sa médaille.
My dad is quite cool. He's quite laid down, and the way he makes us grow up is like, as long as you study and you come back with good grades, it's alright for you to do what you want. But then I've got friends who go through hell with their parents. They still have this, they don't want to adapt to the European way of living. So they try to put this African way of living into their kids who grow up here, then it doesn't work. Things like getting married, for example. For us, you have like 3 steps to do before getting married. You have to do like the presentation, presenting the family. Then you have to do, we call that a dot. It's kind of, you're paying for the girl. Like, you bring a lot of stuff, like the drinks and the money as well. You bring it to the family, and then you have to get married, like the big wedding. But then some parents take this really seriously. Even if your daughter was born here, and then she goes like maybe being pregnant or have like her kids without going through all this, they can actually just leave the kids and not talk to them for a while. So some families are quite strict with the African way of living, but my dad was quite integrated.
Maybe you want to go down.
I think it's quite hard in Belgium because this racism thing is still there. You see it like, not directly, but it's still there. I mean, I've been here for a year since I came back from England, and I've had to deal with this for about 4 or 5 times. But I've been in England for 8 years and I never had any problems. People say things. I mean, I've met a guy on the street just telling me, "What are you doing here? Go back to Africa." Well, he was drunk, okay. But then things like, my brother, he was last week, he went out, he was a bit drunk. The police arrested him, but he's not a bad person or anything like that, but they actually beat him up. They beat him up really badly.
Really?
Yeah, and what for? You don't know. Because it's the higher places like police and all this, you've got no chance. In England, even if someone is like highly class or something like that, you can still go after him if someone did something wrong. But in Belgium, we don't have that justice. If you're not Belgian, then you don't have a lot to say, basically. I had a problem similar to this one in England. It was with a classmate of me, and she was actually bullying another girl who was coming from Africa. She was verbally racist, and people around us heard it, and they actually take it to the next step. I mean, they actually took it to a higher place, and then people had to come. Like, it was like a tribunal. It was a school thing, but it was like a tribunal, like to say what is right and what is wrong. I think it would be good, like, to take this seriously here in Belgium as well.